So we're here at Aklem, also known as BAY58. This place has recently become a base for activity for Grenfell Tower, which is in the distance over there. A community base for works and community socialising, coming together and making things happen. Making things happen in the name of Grenfell. We had a lot of volunteers, a lot of things happening up until this point. It's 3 weeks later. So yeah, come and join us and see what's really been going on at the real community. Hashtag real community. Yeah, no organisation, no government help, no crowdfunding, no council, nothing. Everybody's here doing it out of their own goodness of their heart, including myself, who's been here from the beginning. Let's meet some other people who's been here from the beginning. Yeah? Okay, so I'm here with Niles Asheber Hailstones, leader of the African Revolution, leader of the Westway 23 movement, and also leader of the One Voice community group. Where are we, Niles?
We're at BAY56, which is a very historic location in the area, Ladbroke Grove. It's on 23 acres of land that was originally left to the local community in 1971 by Transport for London, and had a very difficult history in terms of the community gaining access to the land that was left for them. This is BAY56, used to be Ebony Pan Yard and also Venture Playground. Since in the last 20 years and stuff like that, it's become less and less available to the original community that was intended for, and kind of the trust, the Westway Trust, which was originally the North Kensington Amenities Trust, has kind of changed the remit quite a lot from the original remit, kind of inverted the remit. So the local community over the last, say, especially 4 years, has been working hard to challenge the redevelopment plans that have been going on.
We're here at BAY56. What brings us to this location at this specific time?
Alright, at this specific time, yeah. What has brought us here to this specific location is the after effects of the Grenfell Tower fire, and dealing with the community facing the reality of having to deal with a aid response for our own community by ourselves, without the aid of any government, council or anybody, in terms of a firm response to what happened. Yeah, so we came in here at BAY56 because we kind of caught the council picking up donations off the street and taking them to locations that were outside of the area. And we found that suspicious from the beginning. So we started bringing them up to BAY56 without the keys for BAY56 for something else. And it basically from there became us actually kind of intercepting, the stuff that was being sent from the people to the people, yeah, and making sure the council don't get hold of it and take it to their lockups and keep it in the area of West 10, West 11, so that we can make sure it gets to the people that it was sent to. First place. Since then, the council has a lot of this stuff in their warehouses, which they have not been given permission to do. And furthermore, they've passed it on to the Red Cross, who are now selling it. So they're in effect handling stolen goods.
So since Grenfell Tower went up in flames, we all know the tragedy or the criminality of the situation. We know here. So I would like you to just explain what have you seen since, in terms of the authorities or the community, how things look from your point of view.
Alright, so I came out on the night of the fire, and I've probably spent about 3 nights in my own house since then. Yeah, and that's because since that night things changed forever in Ladbroke Grove.
Sorry, let me just specify that the fire went off on the 15th of June, and today we are, where are we? What's the date today? The 9th of July or the 10th of July?
It's coming up to being a month since it's...
So So just to put that in perspective,
Yeah.
carry on.
So
Sorry.
literally, I've been living in here since that fire. Yeah, and what I've seen people doing in that time in the community is unprecedented. Yeah, to see a community come together, the way this community came together, and also people come from other parts of the country to help. You get what I'm saying? And actually, provide the relief that, you've got professional agencies that are supposed to be doing that, right? But you've got community who care, who don't necessarily trained in those skills, yeah, doing the work to an incredible level where it's unprecedented. I don't think that's happened before in this country. Do you get what I'm saying?
We have never seen that.
And what has actually happened has been, scaled down to a certain degree. Yeah. So like the truth about it is not really coming out. Like how many people have actually passed. Yeah. So those statistics are not correct. We know the statistics are not correct. They're in the multiple hundreds.
We're in Ladbroke Grove. You just stated that where we are, that's the location where we're at. So what's the current climate or the current atmosphere of the area to you?
There's a mixture of things going on. There's the energy that was born out of this event, right? That's happened, right? And it's an energy that comes out of the ashes of Grenfell, yeah? It's a new community spirit, a new level of community engagement. People who maybe have walked past each other, pre the fire. Now people are all interacting with each other from all different communities, yeah? And actually working together on a level that hasn't been seen before, right? And I think that's really what we're trying to even put out there more than anything right now, because I think that basically that is going to be the thing that transforms the environment, that actually the change or the shift that's happened is alive within that energy which we want to keep alive here, yeah, at the village, yeah, so we're calling it the village now, BAY56, right, because we want to keep it simple and make sure that while this war is going on outside, we've got a place where we establish peace, love and unity, yeah, truth and justice, yeah, where we have to develop a certain way of being with each other again, where we can come into a place where we can breathe, because people are traumatized, people are grieving, and all of us, because we all know people who died in the Grenfell fire, and probably people are connected to people that they don't even know past them there yet. Yeah. Because we'll never know all the people that was in that building at the time. Right? So, there's that also brings out other things that are challenges for people, because people's characters have become larger than life because of the situation.
So we know Grenfell Tower is a criminal case. At bare minimum, it's gross negligence. Not to mention how at the bare minimum. Not to mention all the people that the authorities told they'll be safe in the house and died. Not to mention the lack of help. Not to mention the lack of assistance up until this point. So, what do you see as the future in terms of, this area, Grenfell, people coming together, what cases to be fought? What do you see as the future in terms of that?
This is such an impossible question to ask. I mean, not to ask, to answer. Yeah, in the sense that there's so many layers of cladding to this situation, that it's even hard to deal with in one conversation, because there's all these different areas you've got to deal with that are related to. All right, there's the legal process. Do you get what I'm saying? How is the legal process going to be dealt with? I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an expert in that field. Do you get what I'm saying? But hopefully the people who are experts in that field can provide the information necessary for the residents and the people to get justice. Do you understand what I'm saying? But it's going to take all of us to come together as one to achieve that, because we've all got pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. I'm holding my piece here in terms of trying to create that environment where we can have those discussions in peace. We can breathe and we're not at each other's throats. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because of our different perspectives. Yeah? That's how I see the way forward. It's like actually creating a new environment where we have to deal with each other a certain way. So we become more able to, you know, deal with the bigger issues. And our personal issues have to be put aside. You understand? We don't have to like, everyone don't have to like each other to work together for a common aim or purpose. And we have to learn how to do that, especially in a situation like this, when there's much bigger, as they would say, fish to fry, yeah? Then whatever little isms or schisms that goes on between people. Yeah? There's much bigger things to deal with, because what people are going to do if something like this happens again? You've got to recognise what the head of the beast is in order to deal with that situation in the long term. So there's all these different areas. Education is a big, massive issue at the moment. Heru, my son, goes to the school that's next to Grenfell Town, KAA. So what happens with his education now? He's 14. Is there any real reality of him being able to go back to that same school again? How are they going to open that school again? Do you get what I'm saying? How are the children who are going to school now being affected by the haunting nature of what's in the background? Do you get what I'm saying? Because everyone's trying to go on with their lives, but it's in plain sight. The truth, the elephant in the room is now in plain sight. How is that affecting these young people who's going to school? And how could they open the school that's right next to it without doing psychological damage to those children? These are the things we also got to look at, and how are we going to take control of that situation? What are we going to do about it? What are we going to provide for our own children? And not necessarily look to the state or the system to solve that problem for us. Especially in a situation where we're in a place that has blatantly shown, if anyone was in any doubt, that they don't care about us. Are we going to leave our education of our children and all of these things to that same system now? These are the questions we've got to ask ourselves. But they're all things that people will be dealing with on an everyday level. People will, they're having psychological problems now, depression and this and that and the other. How do we deal with all of that? That's going to be going on for years. Some of the people have lost their whole family. You get what I'm saying? Like, how long is it going to take to deal with that? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, this is going to be going on for decades. That's why I say nothing is ever going to be the same here. No. But out of it, we can build something new. We can do something different. We've already achieved something that needs to be acknowledged on a wider level as a community. We've done something historical that maybe they won't even recognize it now, but later down the line, someone's gonna have to recognize what's actually happening. You get what I'm saying? Our plan is to make sure everyone knows what's happening here, so that it can be an inspiration to other people and other communities of how we can come together now to deal with the issues we have to deal with collectively. Because there's a small minority controlling the majority, and I think a lot of the world's population now actually get that. They actually get that.
Because they live in it. We're all living it. We're living it.
And the more we see that, is the more we can change that paradigm. Once we come together in unity, like what people are going to do. People come here and feel the vibe. What they're going to feel like? They feel like this is some kind of armed resistance or something. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, we're resisting the system by coming together as one. We're not resisting the system in any kind of even aggressive form. We resisted the system by coming together at a time when they left us high and dry. And instead of us falling apart and attacking each other, we came together. And as long as we keep doing that here, then that's our protection against those who may want to say that we're doing other than that. You know, we didn't create the chaos. Yeah, we brought order out of that chaos. Yeah, and that order came through peace, love, unity, and oneness of the people. And as long as we keep that alive, then that's what they're going to have to fight. Isn't it?
Yes, Niles.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a perfect place to conclude this moment in time, this moment of truth.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so thank you for your time. Niles Asheber Hailstones, leader of the African Revolution, One Voice Movement, and the Westway 23 movement. Myself, Watusi87. Peace.